So it occurred to me the other day that since I've had my Axe Effects, I haven't made a bass patch for it yet. I've been using other people's presets. I thought it was about time I got started. Now with this kind of thing, this is going to be an evolving patch, so I just wanted to make a starting point that I could start to use and then tweak from there. This isn't by any means a finished product, and this is going to be a aggressive, heavily distorted bass for use with modern metal. I'm going to be using the split bass technique. So if you don't know what I mean by splitting the bass, then very simply, when you start to heavily distort bass guitar, although you get a really awesome clanky sound and the pick attack is really emphasized, you lose all the clarity of the note in the low end. So quite a common technique, initially in the studio and now crossing over into live use, is to split the signal so that the low end is clean and the mid and high end are distorted. And it's relatively simple to do with the Axe Effects, so let's get started. So I'm using my Dingwall NG2. These are quite old strings. No one's paying me to make these videos, so I can't be putting fresh strings on all the time. I've got the pickups in serial mode and the EQ on the bass is completely flat. So the first amp I'm using is the Tube Pre model, and this is what's going to be taking care of the low end. I've got the input drive quite high actually, and the bass boost is slightly. Again, this is going to take care of the low end and the sort of the fundamental of the note. I'm using the sub-kick cab with the high cut set to 300. I'll show you how the crossover split works shortly, but this is just to ensure that all the low end I'm sending here, no additional high end or mids get introduced by the amp itself, to make sure this path here is just really clear low notes. On the second path, I've got a guitar amp. I'm using the 50 watt EVH 5153 blue channel. The bright switch is on, the gain's about halfway. The bass is low because this other path is going to take care of our low ends and we don't want too much distortion going on here. The mids are down to clean up the sound quite a bit. The treble and the bright switch are going to give us the frequencies needed to get that really great pick attack. And when that's distorted, that's what's going to give us that grinding sound. Cab wires, I'm using the SV Bass M88. Let's hear that before I split the signal. Okay, let's go to the start of the signal chain. I've got a studio compressor, ratio is 4, and the filter is up to nearly 60. That's so it doesn't react crazy to the low end. And it's quite a high ratio. You know, bass needs a lot of evening out in the mix normally anyway, so this is going to help before it hits any of the amps. I'm going to throw a gate in here just to stop any excess noise from using a guitar amp on a bass. Sidechain select is input 1. That's something I like to do on all my gate sounds. It's to make the gate react to my playing rather than the block before it. And here's the crossover. What I've done to make this work is put the low pan left and right both to the left and the high pan left and right both to the right, and then told it to split the frequencies at just over 200 Hz. That means that the stereo output of this block has everything in the low channel, so that's 209 and below, going to the left, and everything above that going to the right. Then on my amp blocks, I'm telling the Tube Pre to only accept the left channel, so it's only going to get that sub 200 frequency range. And the 5153 is going to get just the right channel, so everything above 200. So effectively, all those low frequencies are going to go through what's quite a clean and solid chain with a cab with a sub kick on to capture those low frequencies. And everything above 200 is going to go into the distortion amp, and that's going to give me my mids and my upper mids, which are going to give me that sort of clanky, grinding sound. So let's hear that. This mixer just combines the signals. As you can see, I've got the distorted sound at 90% and the clean sound at 100%. Again, you just mix these to taste. And finally, another compressor. It's quite an aggressive sound, so it needs a bit of evening out. And these are pretty much just the stock settings on the studio compressor. So the final tone sounds something like this. So that's my starting point bass tone. So my next steps would be to try this in a mix with drums and guitar, mess with the various amp models and settings and try and tweak it as I go. But that sounds pretty similar to something I'd normally use. As always, let me know your thoughts in the comments. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Thanks for watching. See you next time.